There's something fascinating about how the world works. For every problem man has faced since the beginning of time, nature has quietly held an answer, an antidote, cure, a little miracle tucked away in the roots, leaves and fruits of the earth. Yet most of us walk past it every single day, chasing bottles, pills, and promises that never seem to deliver. We've built an entire industry around sickness while forgetting that nature designed us to heal. Somewhere along the way, we traded wisdom for convenience, and in that trade, we lost touch with the simple things that truly work. Now imagine this: a single juice, ancient in its origin, so potent it was once called the drink of life. It wasn't made in a lab or wrapped in shiny packaging. It was squeezed, stirred, and shared among people who lived long, strong, and pain-free lives. It wasn't just a drink, it was an experience of energy, clarity, and balance. This wasn't superstition, it was observation. People drank it and their bodies responded. Their energy rose, their skin cleared, their aches faded, their minds sharpened. It was nature reminding man, I still know how to take care of you. But in today's world, such truths often don't make it to the spotlight. There's too much money in sickness. The longer we stay dependent, the more powerful certain hands become. So when something natural begins to show results, real, lasting, undeniable results, it doesn't take long for the whispers to begin. It's a myth, they say. It's unproven. Yet the same voices never seem to question why billions are spent to keep us on a lifetime prescription. It's almost as if the cure isn't profitable enough to be celebrated. The story of this ancient juice isn't a fairy tale. It's a return to common sense. Our ancestors didn't have modern medicine, yet they survived epidemics, healed wounds, fought off infections, and thrived in ways that still baffle modern science. They trusted the ground beneath their feet. They knew that the plants growing in their surroundings weren't just food. They were medicine. Every sip of that juice carried minerals that fed the blood, enzymes that restored balance, and compounds that strengthened immunity in ways no synthetic drug could mimic. When you think about it, healing was never meant to be complicated. The body doesn't ask for much. Just the right fuel, the right rest, and a little respect for its own intelligence. This juice does what most of us have forgotten to do. It supports rather than suppresses. It works with the body, not against it. And that's why it's powerful. It doesn't treat symptoms, it revives the source. The moment you start nourishing your cells instead of numbing your pain, something extraordinary begins to happen. The body remembers. It remembers how to function, how to rebuild, how to restore. And the ancient wisdom behind this juice isn't just about what's in the cup. It's about what it awakens within you. There's something remarkable about the wisdom of the past, a quiet intelligence that didn't come from books, laboratories, or expensive research. It came from living close to the earth, observing patterns, and respecting the harmony of life itself. People once understood that nature held everything they needed to survive, heal, and thrive. Long before the shelves were lined with pills and chemical formulas, there were herbs, roots, and fruits, each one carrying properties that could restore the body and mind. The old healers didn't have medical degrees, but they had something far more powerful: experience. They had seen the effects of these remedies for generations. They knew that the earth provided exactly what the body required in the right proportions at the right time. Rediscovering this ancient natural wisdom isn't just about nostalgia. It's about remembering the foundation of true health and vitality that modern life has buried beneath convenience. When we look back at ancient civilizations, it becomes clear that their connection with nature was intimate and purposeful. The Egyptians brewed medicinal teas from herbs that grew along the Nile. The Chinese recorded thousands of natural formulas in their texts, each designed to bring balance to the body's internal energies. Indigenous tribes across the world used berries, tree barks, and leaves to treat ailments long before science could name the compounds inside them. What tied all these cultures together was their trust in nature's design. They understood that health was not just the absence of disease, it was a state of balance between body, mind, and environment. In that sense, every natural remedy was more than a cure. It was a conversation between man and nature. It was an acknowledgement that healing came not from domination, but from cooperation. Today, as we rediscover these ancient remedies, there's an awakening taking place. People are beginning to question why the simplest solutions were replaced with synthetic ones, Why did we move away from what worked for centuries to depend on what often causes more harm than healing? The truth is, modern medicine has its place, but it was never meant to replace nature. It was meant to work alongside it. Yet, as progress accelerated, we lost balance. We began to see nature as outdated and science as supreme. But nature never stopped being effective. The same plants that healed centuries ago still grow today, still contain the same healing properties, still wait to be used in their purest form. The only difference is that we've forgotten how to listen. Rediscovering these remedies isn't about rejecting modern advancements. It's about balance. It's about realizing that the earth has been our greatest pharmacy since the beginning of time. The soil is rich with minerals our bodies crave. The fruits are packed with enzymes that cleanse and nourish. The herbs hold compounds that reduce inflammation, fight infections, and strengthen immunity without side effects. When people drank those ancient juices, they weren't just quenching thirst. They were feeding their cells with intelligence, restoring vitality from the inside out. These were drinks of life, not products of profit, and that difference matters, because when healing becomes a business, truth becomes hidden and simplicity becomes forgotten. Across the world, researchers are now uncovering evidence that confirms what our ancestors already knew. Compounds found in ancient herbal mixtures have antibacterial, antiviral, and regenerative effects. Natural juices extracted from fruits like pomegranate, moringa, noni, and amla show properties that can lower blood pressure, cleanse the liver, and improve metabolism. These findings are not new discoveries, they're rediscoveries. They're reminders that the body understands nature's language better than any synthetic imitation. When we drink these natural elixirs, we're not introducing something foreign, we're giving our bodies the tools to do what they were designed to do: heal themselves. What makes this rediscovery so powerful is that it empowers the individual. It brings healing back into your hands, not into the system's control. It teaches that prevention is more valuable than prescription, that vitality is not found in a pill but in a plant. And once people begin to reconnect with this truth, the illusion begins to crumble. They start to see that the best doctor is often nature itself, and the best medicine is found in what grows freely, not what is manufactured. This shift is not just physical, it's mental, even spiritual. It's about trusting in simplicity again, in the same way generations before us did. The beauty of this ancient wisdom is that it's accessible to everyone. You don't need wealth to benefit from it. You don't need a specialist to guide you. You just need awareness, curiosity, and a willingness to return to the basics. You need to understand that what heals is not complexity, but purity. The juice that our ancestors drank wasn't a trend, it was a tradition. It was a bridge between humanity and the natural world, a daily reminder that everything we need has already been provided. And as we return to this understanding, we rediscover not just the remedies, but the relationship with nature that once made humanity thrive. There is something extraordinary about the way nature designs balance into everything it creates. Every fruit, leaf, root, and seed carries a purpose far beyond taste or texture. Inside these natural gifts lie compounds that support life, energy, and healing in ways that science is only beginning to understand. Among the treasures of the ancient world, there existed a drink. Simple, powerful, and deeply nourishing. It was made not for luxury, but for longevity. People believed that this juice could restore vitality, clear the mind, and strengthen the body from the inside out. It wasn't a secret formula. It was simply the right combination of what nature had already perfected. This juice was more than a beverage. It was medicine disguised as nourishment, a natural elixir that connected human beings with the rhythm of the earth itself. When ancient healers spoke of balance, they didn't just mean physical health. They referred to harmony between body, mind, and spirit. The juice they prepared wasn't meant to treat an isolated symptom. It was meant to revive the entire system. Each sip carried the energy of sunlight captured through plants, the minerals drawn from deep soil, and the enzymes that sparked life within every cell. Drinking it was like feeding the body a memory, a reminder of how it was meant to function when aligned with nature. People who consumed it regularly often spoke of renewed stamina, sharper focus, lighter moods, and a feeling of calm strength that no synthetic supplement could replicate. It was as though the body finally recognized something familiar, something pure and right. Modern science now confirms what those early civilizations understood intuitively: the body thrives when given natural nourishment. Many ancient juices were made from fruits and herbs rich in antioxidants, enzymes, and essential micronutrients. These components repair damage, cleanse toxins, and regulate internal systems that keep the body young and resilient. Take the example of pomegranate, revered for its ability to rejuvenate blood and support the heart. Or moringa, often called the miracle tree, loaded with nutrients that boost energy and immunity. Or turmeric, whose compounds fight inflammation and strengthen cellular defense. These ingredients often found their way into ancient juice blends, creating a potent harmony of taste and transformation. The magic wasn't in one ingredient alone, but in how they worked together, synergistically, amplifying each other's effects. When a person drinks something that's pure, something that comes directly from nature's chemistry, the body responds immediately. Cells absorb nutrients that they recognize as part of life itself. The bloodstream becomes more oxygenated, digestion improves, the liver begins to cleanse, and the immune system gains strength. Unlike artificial drinks filled with sugar and preservatives, this ancient juice carried no burden for the body to process. It carried relief. It didn't create dependency, it created balance. That's the remarkable difference between what is natural and what is manufactured. Nature heals through nourishment. Industry often treats through suppression. People in ancient times didn't measure nutrients or count calories, yet they lived in rhythm with what their environment offered. They drank when they were thirsty, ate what was in season, and used what grew around them to stay strong. Their juice recipes evolved not from experiments, but from experience. Generations observed which combinations restored health after illness, which gave energy during hard labor, and which cleansed the system after indulgence. These recipes were refined through wisdom, not marketing, and that's why they worked. They were built on truth, not trends. Every culture had its version of this rejuvenating drink, from the herbal tonics of Asia to the fruit blends of the Mediterranean, to the fermented plant elixirs of Africa and South America. Though ingredients varied, the purpose remained the same: to restore the natural state of vitality that human life was designed for. When you hold a glass of such juice, you're not just drinking liquid, you're holding centuries of observation, care, and understanding. It's a gift that carries both energy and history. It teaches that healing doesn't always come from new discoveries. Sometimes it comes from remembering what worked before the noise of modern life took over. The body doesn't need complicated formulas to thrive. It needs simplicity, purity, and alignment with the rhythms of the earth. The juice offers exactly that, a connection back to that simplicity. It clears the clutter that modern living brings, both physically and mentally. The taste might be humble, but the effect is profound. The power of this traditional juice lies not in its mystery, but in its honesty. It doesn't promise miracles. It delivers nourishment. It doesn't fight the body, it supports it. Each element of the drink, the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytonutrients, plays a role in repairing, cleansing, and strengthening. Together, they form a kind of harmony that no synthetic substitute can reproduce. The body was designed to work with nature, not against it, and when given the right support, it begins to function at its fullest potential. The vitality people once took for granted begins to return, not because something new has been added, but because something ancient has been remembered. In a world driven by profit and convenience, the truth about natural healing often becomes buried beneath layers of marketing, politics, and corporate control. The health industry, once created to cure, has transformed into a system designed to maintain dependency. There's a difference between being treated and being healed, but most people don't realize it until they've spent years relying on pills that manage symptoms instead of restoring balance. Somewhere along the way, the focus shifted from wellness to wealth. The more people depend on medication, the more powerful the machine becomes. It's an uncomfortable truth, but it explains why natural solutions, those that truly work, are rarely given the recognition they deserve. When something as simple as an ancient juice can reverse ailments, it threatens a system built on recurring prescriptions, endless tests, and lifetime customers. The story repeats itself throughout history. Every time nature presents a genuine solution, it gets dismissed, discredited, or deliberately hidden. There's no patent on sunlight, on plants, or on pure earth-grown remedies, so they can't be controlled or monetized in the same way. Pharmaceutical companies invest billions not in curing diseases, but in developing drugs that manage them indefinitely. Healing people completely doesn't bring profit. Keeping them dependent does. The more conditions can be labeled chronic, the better it is for the market. And so the cycle continues. People remain sick, tired, and confused, while the real answers sit quietly in the soil, waiting to be rediscovered. When you look closely at how the system operates, it's almost predictable. A natural cure emerges, showing promising results. Word spreads, testimonials multiply, and soon people start turning toward it instead of commercial products. Then suddenly it's labeled unverified, unscientific, or potentially dangerous. Regulations tighten, access becomes limited, and soon the public forgets about it altogether. Yet behind closed doors, laboratories begin to study its components, isolate its active compounds, and create synthetic versions to sell at high prices. The same element that was once dismissed is now reintroduced in a different form, controlled, packaged, and sold under a new name. The pattern isn't accidental, it's calculated. It's how a system protects its own interests under the disguise of protecting public health. What makes this manipulation so effective is that it plays on fear. People are made to believe that they can't trust nature, that only what comes with a label, barcode, or prescription pad is safe. We've been conditioned to doubt what grows freely and to worship what's manufactured. Yet the irony is clear. Most modern medicines trace their origins back to natural compounds. Aspirin came from willow bark, antibiotics from molds, and many cancer drugs from plants. Nature was always the original chemist. The difference lies in intent. Where nature offers wholeness, industry offers fragments. Where nature seeks harmony, the market seeks control. The body understands the difference, and that's why natural remedies often bring results that feel deeper, cleaner, and more permanent. The suppression of these ancient remedies isn't just a loss of knowledge, it's a loss of freedom. When people believe that their health depends solely on external products, they hand over their power. They forget that their bodies are designed to heal, regenerate, and protect themselves when given the right tools. The ancient juice represents that forgotten truth. It stands as a symbol of independence, of returning to what works. It reminds us that we don't always need complex solutions, we need pure ones. But purity doesn't sell as well as dependency. So the narrative gets shaped carefully, keep the public skeptical, keep the truth quiet, and keep the profits high. Yet no matter how much it's hidden, truth has a way of resurfacing. People are waking up. They're questioning why so many live with preventable conditions, why fatigue, inflammation, and chronic illness have become normal. They're seeking alternatives, and in doing so, they're rediscovering what their ancestors already knew. They're realizing that real healing doesn't come from external control, but from internal balance. The more we align with nature, the less we rely on what's artificial. That's the essence of true wellness, and it's exactly what modern systems fear. This isn't about rejecting science or medicine, it's about restoring perspective. Science was meant to serve humanity, not control it. Medicine was meant to complement nature, not compete with it. The moment profit became the purpose, purity lost its place. And so, what could have been a partnership between nature and knowledge turned into a power struggle. But the wisdom of the earth can't be patented. It exists beyond ownership, beyond limitation. The ancient juice and countless other natural remedies hold a quiet rebellion within them. A rebellion against the idea that healing must be expensive, complicated, or inaccessible. They remind us that the greatest power often comes from simplicity, that the body recognizes truth instinctively, and that no corporation can suppress the intelligence of life itself. The human body is one of the most intelligent systems ever created. Every cell, every organ, every process is guided by a deep wisdom that knows how to restore, repair, and renew when given the right support. From the moment we are born, the body begins its lifelong task of maintaining balance. It fights off invaders, replaces damaged cells, and keeps thousands of biochemical reactions running in perfect harmony without conscious effort. This built-in intelligence is nature's greatest gift to us, but somewhere along the path of progress, we stop trusting it. Instead of giving the body what it needs to heal, we often silence its signals, suppress its symptoms, and ignore its calls for nourishment. Yet when we return to nature's remedies, those pure sources of minerals, vitamins, and enzymes, the body remembers how to function as it was designed to. Every system in the body depends on natural nutrients to perform correctly. The heart beats in rhythm when fed with magnesium and potassium. The brain stays sharp with antioxidants and essential fats. The liver cleanses efficiently when supported by chlorophyll and plant compounds. The immune system strengthens with trace minerals and natural enzymes. When these nutrients are missing, imbalance begins to take root. Fatigue, inflammation, and disease are not random. They are signals of deficiency, the body's way of asking for what it's missing. Modern diets, stripped of true nourishment, leave the body half-fed and overburdened. Processed foods fill the stomach but starve the cells. Synthetic supplements may provide temporary boosts, but they rarely integrate into the body as seamlessly as natural sources. The wisdom of the body cannot be fooled. It recognizes authenticity and responds accordingly. That's why natural juices, herbs, and earth-grown remedies work so powerfully. They communicate in the same language the body speaks. When a person consumes a pure blend of nature's ingredients, something remarkable happens inside. Nutrients are absorbed efficiently because they arrive in their complete form, accompanied by enzymes and co-factors that make them usable. The cells begin to revive, metabolism adjusts, and internal balance slowly returns. It's not a quick fix, it's a restoration. The body doesn't just mask pain, it resolves its cause. Inflammation calms because the body is no longer under attack. Energy rises because cells are finally fueled properly. The skin glows, the mind clears, and vitality reawakens. These changes might seem miraculous, but they're simply the result of aligning with the body's natural design. The most profound healing happens when we stop fighting the body and start listening to it. A fever is not the enemy. It's a sign the body is defending itself. Fatigue is not weakness. It's a signal to slow down. Pain is not a curse. It's communication. Yet instead of listening, we often reach for instant relief, suppressing the message without addressing the cause. Over time, this habit breaks the body's natural rhythm. The systems that once worked in harmony begin to struggle. But the moment we provide the body with clean fuel, nutrients from fruits, vegetables, herbs, and minerals, it begins to remember its purpose. Cells regenerate faster, organs detoxify more efficiently, and the immune system stands stronger. The intelligence of life within us is always ready to heal. It only needs the right conditions to do so. When ancient civilizations relied on natural juices and herbs, they weren't guessing. They were observing. They watched how the body responded, how energy returned, how wounds closed, how clarity followed nourishment. They didn't separate the body into parts. They treated it as one living organism where everything is connected. A problem in one area affected the whole. That's why their remedies focused on restoration rather than suppression. They believed in supporting the body's ability to heal rather than overpowering it. This principle still holds true today. The best medicine doesn't interfere with the body's intelligence, it amplifies it. One of the most fascinating aspects of the body's healing system is its ability to adapt. It's constantly monitoring and adjusting to keep everything in balance. When toxins enter, it activates cleansing mechanisms. When damage occurs, it triggers repair. When nutrients are scarce, it prioritizes vital functions to preserve life. This resilience shows that the body is not fragile. It's strong, capable, and designed for survival. But it cannot thrive in a state of constant neglect. The more artificial inputs we give it, the more confused it becomes. Real healing begins when we simplify, when we strip away the excess and return to what is real. That's what natural remedies and ancient juices represent, simplicity that works in harmony with complexity. When we nourish instead of numb, we unlock a power that medicine alone cannot replicate. It's the power of alignment when the body, mind, and nature move together. Healing becomes effortless because it's no longer something we force, it's something we allow. The cells, the organs, the entire system begin to operate as one, remembering that health is not something to be chased. It's our natural state when we live in balance with the world that created us. There is a quiet wisdom in the way our ancestors lived, a rhythm that connected them to the rising sun, the flowing rivers, and the food that grew from their own soil. They didn't question nature's design. They lived within it. Every herb they gathered, every fruit they juiced, and every meal they prepared carried purpose. Health wasn't a goal, it was a way of life. They didn't wait for sickness to appear before they began caring for their bodies. They understood prevention through nourishment, balance through rest, and energy through simplicity. The remedies they used were born from generations of observation and experience. They didn't need research papers or advertisements to tell them what worked. They saw the results in their families, in their elders who lived long lives with strength and clarity. Reviving the ancestral wisdom today isn't about turning back time. It's about remembering what never stopped being true. The ancient world approached health as harmony. They believed that the body, mind, and spirit were deeply connected, and to heal one was to heal all. They didn't separate medicine from lifestyle because both were part of the same circle of life. The food they ate, the water they drank, the air they breathed, all of it contributed to their vitality. The juice they created from natural fruits, herbs, and roots wasn't just a beverage, it was a ritual of renewal. Each ingredient was chosen not only for its flavor, but for its purpose: to cleanse, to energize, to strengthen. When they drank it, they honored the relationship between humanity and nature, a relationship built on respect rather than exploitation. That connection is what we've lost in the modern age, where health is often treated as a product instead of a practice. As modern life grows more complex, the body becomes more confused. We live surrounded by noise, chemical noise, emotional noise, digital noise, and it weakens the connection to our natural rhythm. Our ancestors knew silence, sunlight, and stillness. They walked barefoot on the ground, absorbing the earth's charge. They bathed in streams and worked under the open sky. Their medicine came directly from what surrounded them. The wisdom they passed down wasn't just about herbs or remedies. It was about alignment with nature's timing. They knew when to eat certain foods, when to fast, when to rest, and when to move. This understanding made them strong without the need for external dependence. Their vitality wasn't bought, it was cultivated. To revive that way of living today is to rediscover the art of being in sync with what sustains us. In every traditional culture, there existed stories about sacred plants and healing juices believed to hold the essence of life. These weren't myths, they were reflections of real experiences. People saw how certain combinations of fruits and herbs could clear the skin, improve mood, strengthen the heart, and calm the mind. They didn't call it detox or cleansing. They simply lived in a way that prevented accumulation of what didn't belong. Their food and drink were naturally detoxifying because they were grown in living soil, untouched by chemicals. When they fell ill, their remedies were simple and immediate: a cup of herbal juice, a rest by the fire, a few days of fasting, and the body would find its way back. This was their science, one built not in laboratories but in life itself. Reviving this wisdom means seeing nature not as a collection of ingredients but as a living teacher. It means understanding that every plant carries intelligence, every natural flavor carries function, and every time we consume something pure, we exchange energy with the earth. That exchange is what strengthens the body and clears the mind. The more disconnected we become from it, the more we struggle to feel whole. Reconnecting to these ancient ways doesn't require drastic change. It starts with awareness. It starts with choosing food that's alive, with drinking something that was once rooted in soil, with trusting that simplicity holds more power than we've been led to believe. The beauty of ancient wisdom is that it was never exclusive. It belonged to everyone. Healing wasn't a privilege, it was a birthright. Families shared their recipes, communities gathered to prepare remedies, and elders passed knowledge as a form of love. Health was communal, not commercial. When one person thrived, everyone benefited. That sense of unity made the healing even stronger because the mind and spirit were nourished along with the body. Today, that same principle applies. When we revive these traditions, when we bring back the rituals of natural living, we don't just heal ourselves. We begin to heal the collective disconnection that modern life has caused. The ancient juice that once symbolized vitality carries that legacy within it. It represents a return to simplicity, to the earth, to the roots of real wellness. It reminds us that no matter how advanced our world becomes, the fundamentals of health never change. The body still craves what it was created for: real food, clean water, natural rhythm, and a connection to the source that gives life. The wisdom of our ancestors isn't outdated, it's timeless. It exists as a guiding light for anyone willing to listen, to slow down, and to remember that true healing doesn't come from invention. It comes from remembrance.